Doesn't matter. All live streams have dead air in the beginning. It's what makes
We
a
can
good
be
live
like,
stream.
click to the show notes so you can
Yeah.
jump to where it actually starts.
Guys, check it out. 21 subscribers. I couldn't make that number up.
Oh, we've been streaming this entire time? Or maybe it's just
It
not.
has just started.
Can someone check that the stream's working? Someone actually emailed me, that's why I said it. The guy who emailed me for the topic was like, are you going to do it on YouTube?
Fix
So.
it.
It's running footage behind.
I don't know how the hell you use this thing. You have to click on that little text thing?
I know.
What the fuck?
It works.
How the hell are you supposed to figure that out?
That's sweet 90s style
UI?
rotation animation.
Wait, so,
That
or I
looks
guess I'll
like
test it on
something
here.
you would demo in this fucking class or some stupid framework.
That looks like my junior.
LUGatGT /live.
It's the
Yeah,
new attendance system.
the guy, so the story is that the guy that was responsible for typing in all of the...
Test this feedback, guys. All right, how's that sound quality?
I'm more impressed than anyone by what you're doing.
There was a guy that did that and he quit, so they had to like install a whole new
I
system.
just assumed it was you have another piece of paper that just goes up filing.
I can't believe it.
That's fine.
About 2 minutes.
That's usual. It's
Well, do you have an Ethernet adapter?
no, YouTube delays it unintentionally.
I know, but I was saying, like it might.
I don't have the cable.
Oh,
I saw the sketch table.
I have the cable,
I need a
but you don't have an. You need an adapter for USB to Ethernet.
yeah.
Duo, which is like a proprietary feedbacker app. But the reason this
Why couldn't I reuse the
Next time I'll bring cookies.
the VPN software which is based on
the thing that's really funny when you have this is what all of the others
Well, there's not.
it makes me laugh.
The,
You know, like be forward
like film
thinking.
that teacher says, the mind craves structure.
So what's the other factor?
They
Is it
send you
telecom?
Actually, I think it'll use your phone, but you can also go to X. Cool.
We should just copy every grad meeting so we don't have to make new meetings ourselves.
Just the week, just copy their meeting the week before,
Yeah.
so we're better. So, or do it better because we have the benefit of seeing them do it.
Exactly.
I think it's a duo token, so you might be able
We
to
have
use it for
cross
anything else.
broad appeal.
Well, I guess that's proprietary.
I think that the token is just here.
Well, do we want to do just like various Linux news and stuff before the presentation starts, or before we start the hacking stuff or whatever? What's the what's all the news that's going on?
So I was able to
Oh
use
shit, really?
two-factor with everything. Fucking Duo comes
Do you read
along.
our Linux?
It's the one closest standard. And now they're the popular ones. Kill me.
Any interesting news?
Oh,
Anyone have any Linux news that they want to
Guys,
share?
I have news. I found the screws to my desktop,
Ah,
so I can finally put it back together.
oh, that's right. Don't you have like an open case desktop
I
right
do,
now?
and I shipped it, like, took it apart, and now I can put it back
I had some interest in it too. I don't know.
yeah, I had some before too, and I don't remember. But I'm hoping like scrolling through Hacker News will remind me.
R/Linux
top.
Yeah.
weekly.
How do you think I get my news, Colin?
Hacker News.
I have some
Dude,
news.
Hacker News has gone down in quality.
I have some news for you, Colin. Linux has survived another week.
What?
Linux survives another week.
Or actually, the real Linux news is
Actually, Linux usage is hit an all-time high.
Oh, but in the last.
Linux Weekly News. We'll get last week's news this week, as long as we don't pay for it. If you want this week's news, you have to pay for it, or something like that.
Oh, Oracle Oracle officially ended
Reddit,
all of
please.
like this sign.
Just go on
all of the
Reddit.
Stuff that they buy off
We don't
the
want
sun, all those things
we don't want last
are
week's
gone.
last
Oracle
week's
officially
news.
has no more sun.
So I've been thinking about this
Huh.
like lug using closed source software thing.
Yeah.
And I think like if we want to reach people, we might have to get on Facebook.
We can do no. I agree. Actually, one thing that I emailed or I sent you a text over the summer, but I don't know if you responded. Is it might make sense to try and advertise our meetings to outside tech, and probably I'm thinking that more because now I'm no longer a tech student. I'm more like other stuff, but like. Was it like meetup.com or things like that where other people who aren't just tech might potentially come? Although I don't know if that's like really the goal of Lug. Like it still should be student focused. I don't know.
Two things. Linux reached 3% market share. Woo.
Wow.
Market share of what?
Right behind you.
Desktop users?
Yeah, like all users for like phones and desktops.
That seems staggeringly
Maybe
low.
it is just desktops.
Yeah, that's desktop users.
The other one was, you see, so there's a.
Because it's like probably
Did you
40%.
see the joke commit minifying the Linux kernel?
yeah. Let's pull that up. That's pretty funny.
So a web developer went on the Linux kernel and pushed a joke commit where he ran the JS minify tool against the main.c.
Oh my god.
That's not.
Just try it.
No, he has his own. It's like it's Torvalds. Pull requests. It's probably the.
What is dictator? He put the Linux repo under his own username.
I don't even think he uses GitHub, right?
Yeah, no. This is a mirror. How do I?
Go on r/Linux and then go top weekly and it will be.
I just need to search.
Minify.
It's like
It's this code very faster, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's right. It's this code. Yeah, very fast, dude.
very faster.
Or the other one.
This whole thing is amazing. Go down to the commits.
Is this
No,
one?
that was the right one. It was faster. No, it was not very fast. It was faster.
Sure, there's two.
Oh,
No, it's this one. You were wrong. They might have made another one that was like
Go to the
improved.
changes.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. The best thing, the comment that I saw. So I'll show the.
This code very fast.
Man, your laptop's really slow, Michael. So you can see he took all this code and then just. I don't know how to. You have, yeah. Just put it in one line.
You remove all of the white space.
Use uglify.js.
Wait, what does it do to the pound includes?
It doesn't change them. There's only like a couple
So
in the top of the file.
This code actually doesn't work anyways. It's a joke committed.
It's JavaScript.
He actually ran the JavaScript minify tool against it.
Oh, yeah. That was my favorite comment that I saw on the internet was that someone pointed out that the best thing about this was because it was a relatively new account, people didn't know if it was a joke or the person was serious.
If you go read through the comments for the commit, it's amazing because half the people are like.
Oh no! You see how many like? How do we
a
go
lot
back?
of them are jokes.
The likes. It got like 190 upvotes. Like,
I just want to read these downvotes.
I mean, just looking at these, I would say it's a good commit
But
because
if you actually
it's
read
got.
through, if you actually read through the comments, it's amazing. You can skip like the crappy comment at the top.
I haven't looked at any of these. Yeah, so there's that. It's kind of
That's,
funny.
like, the only news we really have right now.
I mean, no, there's actually other interesting stuff going on in terms of like,
I'm
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, but
The
that's
Zen of
whatever.
just writing CSS. Wow, it's not like I haven't seen one of those articles on Hacker News the last like 5 minutes.
Okay, so let's get started on the presentation.
Even just is CSS return complete site? Can you display page?
It almost has, someone made something that all you have to do is click a button and it's Turing complete because they need some sort of like JavaScript ticking mechanism.
Did you see the PowerPoint presentation? No, the presentation on how Microsoft PowerPoint was Turing complete without any sort of scripting or anything. So
I mean, there's VBA scripting in it, right?
So he showed, but what he did is he used nothing but animations. He put together a Turing machine where you take a bunch of different shapes, and then all you have to do is click on a button over and over again to trigger like the steps. But using just the animations, it's Turing complete. And the reason he did this is because Apple's terms of service says that you cannot have any Turing complete applications in the App Store. So he's like, Microsoft PowerPoint is clearly in violation of the Apple terms of service.
Let's see.
I guess that makes sense. I didn't know that was
Magic the Gathering is actually Turing complete.
there's a list on
Yeah, of the deck you need.
Any other news people are interested in before we start? I guess we can talk about plans for the
there. Go still sucks.
What still sucks?
Go.
Go is even suck. What's all the? I keep hearing shit about a Go 2.0, and I think it's all a joke. But did they actually release like a major update at some point? Is it still the piece of trash that it was?
I don't know.
We can.
What was I gonna say? Oh, we can talk about the freestyle machine or plans for that. At least get that stuff solidified.
I sent an email to the LUGatGT lab.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys are free in the daytime, you can use the Invention Studio.
Okay.
Otherwise, from what I understand, we can use the Invention Studio. Otherwise, we'll have to use LUGatGT to follow stuff.
Yeah,
You're not free anymore.
Yeah, I'm not free during the day, but I could definitely help during the weekend. Or if you guys want to work on it without me, that's fine as well. I didn't bring the monitor today because I just got out of work, so I should have planned ahead and put it in my truck. But if you want, I can bring it to you after Lug today. I could. That might be a little annoying, or I could just bring it to you like sometime this weekend or something.
I think the first thing we'll do is probably in LUGatGT.
Okay. If you guys are you guys available to meet on Sunday?
I will send it. I am available. I'll send a thing on the normal mailing list. If you guys, if anyone doesn't know, this is a machine to act as a vending machine for live stream.
Yeah, so I'll do it for the
not a vending machine, but the goal is that you can plug USB stick in and click on an icon and it flash that USB stick installed.
So the inspiration is like this machine, but Linux distros. And this has been like a project that we've been working on / not working on for like over a year now.
Got really sick of these
No, we like changed stacks like 5 different times. And we've been like waiting for hardware to come in. So it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of getting organized.
That's gonna be our legacy. Is a crappy wooden Coke machine that sits in like a back room somewhere.
No, and the thing is, we can paint it nice. Like we can paint it like yellow and gold and like Georgia Tech colors.
No, we're gonna paint it the Linux colors. It's gonna be white and black. It's gonna be.
Well, we can have a penguin on there as well.
Yeah.
We can have all the different
It's gotta be
Lugs
penguin
branding.
shaped. We've gotta like mold it.
So if you guys are into like, we already have sort of the base frame cut. So we just have to assemble it and then figure out how we're going to attach the monitor to it and then actually write the software.
That should be fairly trivial.
No, we started trying to work on it before,
I
and
agree. I still think.
I think potentially switching to like a web framework might make sense, just because everyone knows that.
That is my point.
No, I didn't mean to drill that.
All right.
Okay.
Exploit.
Yeah, so let's start to the presentation. So before I start on all the Metasploit stuff, I'm just curious who's used Metasploit or Kali Linux before a little bit.
Kali, nobody.
Or just Metasploit, not necessarily
I
on
used
Kali.
the one that came
In the next meeting.
Okay.
I used the one before Kali to crack some weapons.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll be honest, so I'm not a a Kali expert or a Metasploit expert, so it's kind of definitely going to be more intermediate or beginner. Josh, if I run into issues during the presentation, please interrupt and correct me. But when I tell you, I know I don't need to tell you to interrupt me.
Kali is nothing but Debian with a bunch of tools pre-installed.
Yeah, I understand that. But still, like, there's a lot of cool things. So I recently went to a capture the flag, which was a lot of fun, and I used Metasploit for the first time. So I kind of want to show you some of the cool tools that I learned that I didn't know about. So the first thing that if you want to kind of get, actually what we should have done is set it up so all you guys could download these files during the presentation if you wanted to. But I'll show you where you can get them. So this is a Kali VM that you can get from, if you just Google Kali Linux VM, it's right there. You can get so I'm using the VirtualBox image. So you can just get it from there, and that'll have a lot of the tools you need for breaking into this other box we're going to be trying to exploit. And then Metasploitable is the other virtual machine. So you can just search Metasploitable 2 VM, and you can download it from SourceForce, which no one likes that site anymore, but it's still there.
You can tell that it's Metasploitable because it came from SourceForce.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. So Metasploitable, let me just briefly explain what these two things are, or I can even start them. So Metasploit is a hacking framework for breaking into other machines. And I'll just go ahead and start this. Actually, yeah, so I'll go ahead and start this VM.
Apparently we've got more guys coming in at 7.
Yeah.
Some people went to eat dinner.
How nice of them. Consider
I think it's only one of them that are eating dinner. Jay just couldn't show up this week for some reason.
So actually, before I set this up, one thing, so we're setting up our own virtual lab for basically trying to exploit this. Yeah, we can wait for other people if we need to.
Are there any news on whether we can change the time period for this room? Because this...
That's a Michael question.
Because our time is at the same time as a CS 2200 lab, and a lot of the people that would be coming here are going to 2200, and I know that because I know several friends who wanted to come.
Yeah.
When did they have tested?
I think it's 7:30 or 7:15.
I think 2200 has Monday and
I think when I was in 2200, it was like a 1 hour.
Where was I? Yeah, so before we get started in trying to use Kali to break into this other vulnerable virtual machine, we need to set up the virtual network. So one thing you can do is we want to change the network settings just to make sure that we're not actually connected to the internet when we're toying around with this. So you can change it to internal network. So it'll just be default iNet, and then we'll change this one to network. So if it's internal network, all the VMs are on that one internal network and they're not hooked up to the host. But if you wanted to be able to access it from your local machine, you could do host only adapter, and that way you can connect to them or connect your local machine to the VMs as well. So we're just going to do internal network, and we'll do iNet. And one thing that you also need to do is VBox. So right now, if you do internal network, it works both ways. You need to set up a DHCP server within VirtualBox to assign IP addresses to each of these hosts. So if you do VBox manage DHCP server, and I forget all this stuff, so it's gonna.
We should just run a case insensitive file system.
Yeah, okay.
How do I?
I hear that Git repos are doing like that.
Speaking of Git repos, did you see the Git vulnerability where like repository names that begin with a dash will like trigger an option flag, and then you can basically inject stuff like into git SSH by like the name of the repository.
Of course.
And then the fix for it wasn't like properly escaping everything. It was just disallowing repositories with a dash at the beginning.
You know,
Well, that is a
there's
pass.
this is that XKCD comment where if this happens and you need to burn the whole thing down, because it's clearly engineered horribly at that point.
Yeah, so, okay, now that we're done with that side note. So you can change the DHCP settings or with the server with this command. So we want to add a network called whatever it was here. And actually, I'm not sure if it does this automatically. I've always done it, but it might configure some of this automatically, but I've just never done it, and I don't want to try not doing it the other way live. So you do inet or intnet, so whatever that name would be, and then you want to say netmask, or we want to assign the IP address to the DHCP server. So generally this will be like the very first IP address on whatever your like network is. So it'll have a .1, and then we'll assign our netmask to be something like that, and then we want to start assigning IP addresses from like 2, and then we'll just have like an upper IP at 10. We'll just say 10. It's not net name. Did I misspell it? Oh, net name. So now we'll have a DHCP server running on this internal network. Okay. So we can go ahead and start this VM, and we can also start this VM. So Metasploitable is actually made by the people who make Metasploit, and it has a ton of outdated versions of various different softwares running on it. I think it's like originally based off of Ubuntu 8 or something, with a lot of like really old services running, and then Kali. So default username and password for Kali is root, and then TOOR if you get a Kali VM, so you can set that up. And so we are going to try and break into that other box. So right now, basically I'm going to make sure I have all the networking stuff configured. So the IP address of this virtual machine looks like it isn't even configured properly. So that's our first issue that we're going to have to fix. Which I haven't actually tested this on Michael's laptop, so hopefully.
Don't blame my lap.
I don't know. I'm just gonna restart all these real quick. Hopefully it How do I? Oh, there we go. Do you have like another hidden screen, Michael?
Sorry? Yeah, it's the one on the laptop. There's two screens, one's a laptop screen.
Okay. Let's check these again. Some of this stuff is kind of flaky, so.
Is it just like probably not connected to the...
I don't know. It wasn't connected to the internal network. Like it didn't have an IP address when I started. So we'll see if I might have had to. What I think the issue was is after running those commands, I think I had to restart the VirtualBox manager. So we'll see if that. Well, we'll see if this fixes it, and then if it doesn't, we'll try something else.
Try to do DHCP.
Oh, I'm an idiot. So one thing that Kali is configured to do is it has networking disabled by default if you're starting on a fresh VM. So wired. Let's see if that's basically what I did. Oh, that's a good point. I'm really used to not Kali.
You don't have to put it on the like its own network. Just do it on like on that.
You can either use LUGatGT or LUGCPD. LUGCPD is probably I think the network manager usually uses LUGatGT and everything else.
VBox manage. Maybe I need to run. No, I don't need to run that as root. Okay, I'm gonna try one other thing and then
Try
we'll.
adding a verbose flag in LUGatGT.
So what happens when you don't? Well, I haven't done that before, which is why I. You say nat, just nat, I think. Okay. This is not what you should do. Yeah, that's good. No, you're not. Oh, so one of the interesting things, the guy who found the WannaCry bug is like arrested for finding it.
Supposedly being involved in something else.
Oh, for something else.
He went and sold. He wasn't like supposedly involved. It's like well documented. He went and sold a bunch of malware he wrote. So like, yeah, it's illegal to sell malware. He created the malware and sold it. For like, so he went and I want to say he sold some botnets that he wrote way long ago, and the FBI found a copy.
Change the settings.
Change it to.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I did.
It's kind
I guess I didn't.
It's actually kind of annoying. So a lot of the community, a lot of the Black Hat community, I'm sorry, not the Black Hat community, a lot of the security community was like fawning over him. But he like legitimately went and did a bunch of legal shit. So.
Well, so the thing that I heard recently, well, I didn't know all of that,
Yeah.
but the thing I heard was that it was kind of interesting that his what is it? Oh, they set up like a GoFundMe or something, and there was a ton of money that was donated from stolen credit cards. So they had to give away all the money, or give all the money back, because like more than half of the money was stolen. Okay, now we're up and running. So normally what I would do is show you, so one of the cool things is to basically enumerate all the devices on a network, but because it's now natted, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to actually like log in and get the IP address from
Enumerate like the first like 10 devices.
I don't know how to do that. So
You just do whatever you want.
but I'll show you the command for how to enumerate. So you can do nmap, and then you can do -sp for like port scanning, and then you can do, so right now our IP address range is 10.0.2.15, and I'll do like /24 to enumerate all the ones like the last octet. So that last like range for the 255. Actually, it wouldn't be 15. Whatever I put there doesn't really matter. I'm not going to do that because now we have it natted. So instead, I'm just going to guess that because I started that one after this, it's probably assigned, and actually this is 10.2 is a local thing, so actually I can do that. Why isn't that working? Oh, in map. So I will do that because that's fine. I 02. /24. Yeah, that should be fine because yeah, that this is a natted. So we can see after this, there's a couple hosts up that are this QEMU, so that's we know is VirtualBox. So it's either going to be IP address 22, 3, 4, or 15, which is one more than I would expect. So I don't know which one it is. So this will be kind of interesting. It is connected to the internet, but not. These aren't on the internet. These are just virtual machines. Is there another VM running? Just these two. So I'm gonna guess it's like .4 or something. So what I'll do is nmap dash, and I just want to scan the ports first to figure out what services are running. So we'll do this one, and so nmap without any flags, we'll do a we'll scan all of the ports, or some of the ports, the most commonly used ones. So I can tell you from looking at this is not the one that we're trying to break into because I know what the Metasploitable thing looks like. So now we're going to try this one. Okay, let's try 2.2. Yeah, so I'm going to cheat slightly. And, oh, how do I do this? And so I don't actually, Michael, some of your computer is annoying. Like, how do I pull up?
It's not the computer, it's the user.
Yeah, I'm sure. How do I pull up the other window for the virtual machine? Can you just, actually, no, dude. I'm going to mirror,
When did you switch backwards?
let me just mirror the displays.
Why did you switch back to cancer?
Because, like, you can't let other people use your computer for us to do that. Let people know.
You know, you're not wrong.
How do
I don't know. I feel
Yeah, sorry for this momentary. How do I just mirror the displays, Michael?
I do what?
Just mirror the displays? I'm in the display settings, but... Oh, here we go. Got it.
They added the global.
Good.
Hopefully this doesn't screw up the streaming.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay. Now... I want the other... Michael, where's the other virtual machine?
Yeah, it's right there. Metasploitable too. Right there.
Okay. So I'm going to cheat to get its IP address. But after this, we're not going to do any more cheating. That was the one that we were. I thought that was our IP address. That's why I didn't look into it more detailed.
Yeah, maybe that's not for you.
Oh yeah, that's. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I'm silly. So we can't do this on a network. Oh, so there's a learning experience for all of us. If you don't know how NAT works, it's basically sharing an IP address for all of those hosts, which is not going to work when we're trying to do this. So Okay.
I use it that way, and if I actually use it,
Maybe. Yeah, that's really annoying. Host only adapter. Let's do that. That's the thing you should do instead of NAT. So that's a big part of this if you're trying to set it up yourself. That's kind of one of why capture the flags are good, because you don't have to worry about setting up the VMs or anything like that. You could just try and break into a system. So you saw me mess up 10 times, so that'll be good for you guys. If you try and set up your own network, you can learn from my own mistakes. There we go. Okay.
You didn't set host only on this machine.
Yeah, I did. I think. Oh, you're right. Shit.
Also, the stream is paused.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so like, it's not paused, but it's stuck on the.
Probably when I changed the screens.
Yeah. It's okay.
Well,
Just stop it.
just stop the stream.
There's only one person watching.
Well,
I guess you can restart it.
I don't know how to. I'll not.
OBS is like open source software for doing like different video streams. It looks like you can see different live streaming.
Okay, well that's starting. So yeah, do you want me to fix the streaming thing, Michael, or no?
No.
Okay. So it'll be broken for everyone on the. We can just not. We can pull it off. It doesn't matter. Okay. So we can still run the same command as before to enumerate the services, or enumerate the ports. Sorry, but now we're on a different IP address, or now we're on a different network. So. So hopefully this will be like 2 or 3 addresses, and we can see 56, 102, and 101. And we are 101, so that means the other host is 102. Okay, cool. Sorry for all that setup. So what we can do now is try and enumerate all the services on that port. So let's do 192.168.56.102. And we can see there's a ton of ports that are open. So I'll just go switch to full screen. And we notice IP address. So one, we can see there's an FTP service running, SSH service running. There's an HTTP server running, so there's a web server. There's a couple other non-standard ports. What? Yeah, it doesn't. Well, it doesn't appear like it has an HTTPS server running. I think that port's 443, so it doesn't have that port open. And if you are curious of like what port is corresponds to what protocol, I think it's protocols. You can look in that, and you can actually see the mappings. So if I know like port 443, oh, it's not in here. So 8080 is generally used if like it's HTTP, but just like for like debugging or whatever, like if you're running your own local web server. So one thing we can do, so first, I'm going to do a lot of this stuff in Metasploit instead of just the regular command line, because it's kind of cool to use. I'll still run a couple commands. No, Metasploit is just a command line interface. And you can still run all of the same terminal commands that you could run in the regular shell, in the Metasploit shell as well. But some of the commands has some extra commands, and you can also modify some of your commands slightly so that it stores the output of that in a database that then Metasploit can use. And if you aren't running Kali Linux, then it takes a little bit of setup to set up Metasploit properly, because you have to be running an SQL database and have a couple other extra things configured. So using Kali, it's pretty simple in terms of how to set up. I'm gonna.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Ninja's been fucking.
Yeah, better watch out for that ninja. So one thing, I'll just make this as brief as possible. Don't hack anybody. If you hack anybody, you can get arrested. You guys all know that because you're good tech students, except for that one tech student who hacked the UGA people. But
Can we hack T-Square at some point?
no. Okay, so I show you how to run InMap, but InMap has a ton of different options. So when I just ran it there, it just ran it all, checking several ports that are commonly run. It didn't check all of the ports. And also, it didn't run stuff to figure out what version of the software is running on that port. It just saw if that port was open. So if we're trying to exploit a box, we want to get as much information about what version of the software is running on that. One thing, so I'll just briefly pull up in Firefox. We can just go to that web server and see what's happening at that 192.
Connect with the apps.
Yeah, I guess. 56101. It's actually 102. So, okay, it's running a web server, and there's a couple other things that are like, has PHP MyAdmin running on it. Let's see. So just off the bat, I can look at this and see it's running several different servers that could potentially are outdated or whatever. But what I'll do first off is running InMap using this DB_ prefix.
What happened to our sign-in tablet? Did they already take that?
Yes.
Wow, you're too late.
It doesn't matter. He doesn't count. No, I'm just kidding. So if we prefix in the InMap command with this db_inmap, the output of it is going to be stored into Metasploit, so we can use it for cool stuff later. So we do db_inmap, and then I'll just use that same IP address, 10 or.
If you do db_inmap the second time, does it overwrite previous state or?
It's a good question. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I think it depends. 168.56.102. So now, we ran InMap on that, still printed out all the output, but, so another thing, we can just run regular commands in this shell. We can type in services, and it'll output all of the services that are being run on that host in a kind of a cool, column format for you to use.
Assuming, though, that they're using the ports as they're meant to be used.
Yes, that's true. One thing we can do, though, is now that we have this, we can add some extra InMap flags. So InMap by itself, I was saying this earlier, it's basically checking some commonly used ports, but it doesn't check what's actually being run on it. So one thing, we can do -s v to get the different software versions that are being run on those different ports. We can do -sc to run basically a couple exploit scripts to get even more information about what versions are being run, or what versions of software are being run on these ports. But this would be considered basically intrusive, so don't do this on any host that is actually online, or, I mean, you're not supposed to do this on anybody that you don't have permission with anyways, but especially don't do that on someone you don't have permission.
You don't have to have these warnings.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, it's just kind of interesting to know what all these things do.
I wonder if it's possible to like tell it to detect.
And then you can, so right now it still doesn't enumerate all the ports, so even like there's a command that's like -- all ports. That's not the option you want to test all the ports. You actually want to just list out, the way to guarantee you're getting all the ports is to list them out manually. So do 1 through 655, 355, or 35.
You're missing port 0.
Is that it?
Port 0. Yeah.
Port 0 is not a port that you can run on, right? Maybe it is, so we'll run it as well.
Really? Are you serious?
And then there's other flags that you can do to basically do really similar things to this. I think it's just -A, but I haven't used that as much. So we'll go ahead and run this, and so one thing, by default, it'll try and do some reverse DNS stuff. So just to disable that, which will make it a lot faster and stuff, you can add a -N to disable the reverse DNS checking. Is it not? I don't think it. I've seen someone do it now too, so it doesn't matter. But
You're a web developer now.
I know 0 is not a port. Or I'm pretty sure you can't use port 0. Someone Google it.
Well, we all know that.
Port 0 is not an official port, but it does some things anyway.
Really?
We all know that arrays started in the 1.
A lot of times port 0 will be use any available open port.
Oh yeah, if you have, okay, that makes sense. You can listen on all ports.
It'll, in Unix, it'll do dynamic allocation. Does it use port
So this will take some time. I think there are a couple other flags I could have added to make it go faster, but I don't remember them off the top of my head.
One of them is --Sonic.
Really? You gotta go fast.
You got me.
One thing that I kind of like, just while this is running, Kali probably has one of the best out-of-the-box like GNOME interfaces that I've messed around with. Like, it has the transparent terminal. It has like kind of nicer than default icons.
Transparent terminal. That's kind of hilarious.
I mean, it's already a feature. They just like made it the default.
GNOME terminal removed transparency because they thought it was a confusing option and they refused to add it back.
Oh, really? So you have to like, okay, so that's why GNOME Tweak Tool is like right here. Yeah, this is taking a lot longer than I was expecting originally.
GNOME removes at least 3 features every release.
You can, is it connected to SCDN? Then you can press space for progress.
I think it's, I don't know. I just tried pressing space, it didn't do anything.
But
There we go. Yeah, it's almost done.
there it is.
Let's see.
I
So,
used to do this on my high school, and no one caught me.
you nmap, it's random stuff.
So this is my confession online for everyone to hear.
I don't know if you're in range of the microphone. Let me repeat that really loudly. Michael.
Tell them I got Miss Sloan's password.
Well, so a lot of times, there's a lot of, let me just show you some of the cool things. So Kali has a lot of out-of-the-box, like really cool tools you can use. So like one of them's like social engineering framework, which is like, it's basically a tool for like, you can fake another website and then, no, I'm not going to do it. But it had, yeah, where'd you see Facebook?
Yes, no, just press yes, and then do it on Facebook.com.
It had, oh, why is it crash? Can't get the socket or something. But you could do, I don't know. But there's a lot of cool things you can do with that. I haven't actually messed around with it very much. Man, this is taking a lot longer than I was hoping. I shouldn't have ran all of the ports. So that's why you can just do -A. So now it finished, and we can see all of the output, And I don't really care about looking at that because I can just run that services command and get a more detailed output. So you can actually see the version numbers of all the different services that are running.
Metasploitable root shell. Let's SSH into that.
Oh, where do you see that?
Metasploitable. It's under it's the third one in the.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. So the whole point of Metasploitable is it's extremely vulnerable. So the first thing we're going to exploit is this using Metasploitable or using Metasploit, and then we'll kind of just like go at it together to try and figure out stuff because I haven't prepared as much as I should have. But this very first one, if you actually look, and I'll show you just different ways. If you Google this, you'll see that this version of the software, VS or FTP, had a backdoor installed for like 3 days. So it just so happened that this, in this fictional server, it installed the software in that like 3-day range. So it has a backdoor installed in it for you.
Who put the backdoor in it?
So someone just hacked into it, and so it's called. So the way we can search for this is we can just search. So we're in the Metasploit framework shell. So there's a couple commands we can do to actually search its database of exploits and vulnerabilities and payloads. So we can search just that software. So we can say VS FTP and see if there's anything that matches that. And hey, look, there's this exploit Unix VSF whatever the backdoor for that version. So if we want to use this this module, we can say use exploit Unix FTP VS that, and then now it's basically like in our current scope. So we can say info and get information about this exploit. We can see there's these two different arguments for it. So there's the host and the port that the service is running on, which is just running on the default port. Yeah. So and we can read the description. So and you can actually click on these and read more about the exploit. Yeah, you can set a global variable for the host if you want to do that, which is what I'll do. So if you can click on these links and read the research about that exploit, but actually, yeah, I don't think I'm connected to the internet. No, that wasn't the pastebin one. That was the other one. Basically, the backdoor was if the username ends in a smiley face, then it'll give you a shell.
Yeah. That's great.
So.
Is this on Git? Can we see the commit where this person had it?
I don't think it was on Git because it was. I mean, Git wasn't widely used then. But I'm sure you could look at it. I don't know if it was the source though, right? Because it was their FTP server. So yeah. Yeah. So now we're using this. So let's set the variable. So let's set our host to be 192.168.56.102, and so that'll just set it for this like our current scope. So if we want to set this globally, we would do set G. And now if we like went to starting using another exploit, it would still have that host as our argument. So we can see info again, and we can see what it's currently set at. So let's go ahead and run this exploit. Actually, I haven't tested this, so hopefully we'll get a shell.
Well, don't you have to assume that the remote shell has a username and a
Found shell, so command open. It's running stuff, I'm sure. Another thing is, I think this one by default, just because it's so simple, you don't have to set a payload. But basically, there's the exploit and then the payload. So, I wonder if I can. It's taking a while. Oh, we can see right here. Session opened. 10. Well, I have access, but I don't actually know how to use it. So this is what we'll do. So we'll use the payload for this one.
You might just be able to
So I can show you.
SSH into that shell or something.
Port session.
Are you sure we can tap on your shell? Like that?
Yeah, try like SSH into that IP or that port.
Oh,
Oh, wait a minute.
pet slash. Yeah, it's not giving me. It's just telnet.
Can you run,
So
can you run Zeech? So like, there's something to get like a nicer shell.
we can see. Yeah, we can see. This is the MSF admin. So we're in the box that we were trying to get into. That was kind of uneventful. Run bash.
Yeah.
Yeah, run bash just so you have a nicer shell. Oh, fuck your game. Metasploit, step your game up.
What about MS console? Like, you can, I hear you can have a payload where Metasploit gives you a fancy shell.
Yes. Or I don't know about that, but I will show you the. Let's set the payload. So we can. Let's quit out of this. Abort the session. So if we wanted to, there's a lot of payloads you can use. So I'm trying to remember the name of it. Search, but we'll just do search so we can scroll through all the different exploits and vulnerability. So host, payload. So we can search through payload slash Linux, and we can see shell reverse TCP. So this would basically start a reverse TCP connection on the host you've exploited back to your machine. So let's use this payload. Yeah, so we could say which set payload be that.
Big use payload.
Yeah, I think that's correct. So for this one, because it's such a like simple exploit, it doesn't actually have a.
I don't think this. Did this take a payload?
Yeah, that's what I agree. This one, this exploit is so it already has a payload built into it just because it's so like simple. So let's find another one. So let's look at services, and we can see. Where is it?
Underneath access command.
Here. Yeah, I think this one is in the same vein of it had a backdoor and it just installed the backdoor version. So that's not going to be as interesting. Let's look at. Oh, that's odd.
Maybe MySQL or Postgres.
Do you see MySQL? Let's just do the.
MySQL and Postgres.
No, so let's do this one because so on the Apache, like right here, there's PHP. Yeah, we could do the WebDAV one as well. I think those are. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So WebDAV is just like a. No. Well, no, it's like this server software for directories.
Oh, that's right. WebDAV is for files, but it also does calendars and contacts. It's like the generic distributed shape.
So let's click on that. So that's running just on port 80. We can, let's just search DAV.
I think it's actually called
So there's all these scanners for WebDAV. So we want to do this. Auxiliary scanner, HTTP WebDAV scanner. So we can say use auxiliary scanner HTTP. Oh. Info about it. So all this information.
Whatever the exploits, just look up WebDAV and see if you can look at that. You can get way too many results with that.
Exploit multi SVN. Those are all Windows, unfortunately. So
Maybe look up the specific dev software name.
yeah, so that's the thing to do. So we can look up services. So if we're actually doing this, we might look at this.
It was Apache HTTPD 2.new
Oh. What?
below ISC9.
That? Well, that's different. That's just the Apache version. The WebDAV version is this.
Yeah, but it has dev/previous. No, that's the same thing. They say the same thing.
Okay. Well, so now let's search that on.
Just really search for Apache.
You can also search. Well, if you just want to walk through for this, you can. Oh, so first hit, right? See if there's anything that. All these are denial of service. We want something to execute code. Mod rewrite, print characters. We'll look at this. We'll see if there's anything. So from that, oh. Yeah. So search. We're just going to search Apache and like a Apache version scanner. Or even this, because I saw a Tomcat server running here too. So 8081. Let's just say use that. Get info about it. I'm going to set our
There was
hosts.
an Apache mod rewrite there.
Yeah, I mean, did you saw the Apache mod rewrite in here?
Yeah, I saw it.
So if I just search
Search, I guess.
mod rewrite,
Yeah, it pops.
rewrite
Is that the right one?
rank great.
Oh, that's Windows then.
Okay.
That's slightly depressing.
So yeah, let's continue using the one we're using. Yeah, it's running on that port. That's false.
This only detects it again, though. I think all these auxiliary ones are not actually.
Yeah, I agree. So I'll kind
Is
of
there any way to search just like a specific? Could you do exploits /Linux when you're searching?
yeah.
We're getting too much crap from other stuff.
I think it takes regexes.
Well, we'll just do exploit /Linux.
Okay. Oh, Netgear. So. Let's try that. Or get more info about it. So one thing, you can just say info and then that as well without switching your and yeah, I don't think it's running Apache Continuum. So I'll kind of cheat a little, or at least show you what the cheat is, because this is definitely more unprepared than it should be. You can actually, so if you just like, right now it's kind of boring to watch me try and explore all this stuff because it's difficult to think while you're talking and all that. But you can look at all of these and then actually, go and Google this version and figure out if there's any existing vulnerabilities. And then from that information, right, we can just, and here we don't even have to search online. You could search that version, FTPD, and see if there's any versions of that on there that have an exploit. I actually think there are for that specific version, right?
Will OIT cache you try to run these in maps again?
Say that again?
Will OIT cache you try to run these in maps?
Yeah, they can. Yeah, there's people paying attention, even when you don't think. So yeah, here's another one that we just figured out just by searching the vulnerability name in Metasploit. But you can also Google around and try and find that exploit. I think this one, let's just see if it works without me doing much effort. I might have to set a payload, but I think it already has a payload set. Exploit complete, but no session was created. So because no session was created, I think that actually means I need to set the payload. So I can do search payloads, I think is what it is. Maybe, or if I just maybe search. So one thing, remember how to do that. There's a way you can actually search for all viable payloads for the specific exploit that you're using. But I don't know how to do that. So what we want is just something for Linux, like a shell. Yeah. So this will just listen on a generic TCP port. Let's do that. Why is that not working? It's embarrassing. I'll just Google it. I'll allow it to send me push notifications. Is it use? No, use is for setting the framework. Oh, it's not all caps. For some reason I thought it was all caps. Oh, I guess because all the other ones are all caps, maybe. It might also be just not valid for that option.
Probably just look up all of the Metasploit and Google the error messages, so that is specified.
Maybe it has to be one of these.
Oh, you know what? Maybe you're not supposed to type in the prefix payload because
No, this is it. So when I said, what did I do?
I removed payload from it because it's
These are the only allowed payloads.
Oh, but still, you would strip the
I think.
payload. I think the problem was that you need to strip payload from the beginning because you can only set payload to payload anyways.
Oh, it already has it set to this. Wait.
Reverse TCP must have been the crappy shell we were using then.
No,
How was that?
possibly.
Did you set?
Oh, no target created because
No matching target was detected.
oh yeah, this exploit isn't succeeding, so it's a different one.
Is there any way to just tell it to try every exploit?
There used to be actually. There used to be an option called autopwn or something. They removed it because it caused more damage. Because people would use it to like test if you could break into stuff. Because Metasploit's supposed to be used by pen testers, but it would cause more damage than you would want it to because it would like try everything and break stuff that you don't want to be broken. So they removed it for good reason. Yeah, so we can just look at this. So we're just going to explore a little instead of me kind of, well, still muck around. But so one thing, oh, actually, before I do that, let me show you a cool tool I learned about when I was doing the CTF the other day. So there's something called, three different things actually. So one is Burp Suite, which is basically, you can set it up as a proxy and then connect your browser to it. And then all of its HTTP requests will go through Burp Suite. And you can inspect the parameters, modify variables, stuff like that. So I'll show you how to do that briefly. It's not that helpful, but it has a couple useful features where you can then modify the parameters and change it to start brute forcing using like a password list or something.
I can tell that this is like a commercial piece of software because it's the one thing that doesn't use a real interface.
As a Java app. And it has like a paid version too, but I wouldn't use it. No, there's like an annoying thing that it like rate limits the brute force attempts if you don't have the paid version. So it like does one every second, and it takes forever if you're trying to brute force something. So I'm not gonna go and, well, I'll show you how to set that up briefly, I guess, but you really don't need that. So you can go to Advanced Network Settings, and then you can just use a proxy. Port, I think it runs on port 8080. There. So we can go to proxy, see that. Make sure the proxy is actually running. Yeah, so the proxy is running by default when you open up Burp Suite, so we can actually see all the header stuff. And then if we wanted to, we could say, we could forward this to the actual server, we could drop it. It's kind of a neat tool. Then we could also just like right click here and then send it to one of these other tabs. So we could say send to, I think, intruder, or no, not that. But you can do some interesting things. So we'll just go ahead and forward that. Let's say if we do it again, we could also just modify one of these variables.
I feel like you have to do this kind of fast,
right?
Because couldn't it just like...
No, the TCP timeout is 2 minutes. So.
Oh, okay.
It shows you a Burp Suite error message.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. So
maybe that's the difference.
That's some cool stuff you can do with Burp Suite. Yeah, probably. So I'll go ahead and redisable that. Okay. So there's that. Let's see. Okay, so that's one thing. Another useful thing when you're messing with this is just enumerating all of the different web directories that exist. So a couple things like, if you've done some web development, like robots.txt is a file that is for like for spiders that sometimes they have other directories in there. You can find a list. Here we don't. We just kind of have to guess what all the directories are. So there's a tool, or there's two tools. One is called
Sparta. I want to see what the Sparta tool does.
information gathering. Thing is, I don't actually remember the name of it, of the GUI one, but there's a command line interface one called Derby, D-R-I-B, which will just brute force to figure out all the directories. So we can use Derby and then set the IP address, and you need to set the protocol. So 192,
Can you use it
168.
to brute force like FTP should do?
Send it to T-Square or
102, and then you use a words list. So there on Kali, it has a words list under user share, words list, and then we have Derby, and then there's big. So we could just try that, and then the other option is we want to. No matter what you do, it'll output it, and then kind of do it in a more graphical way, like it. Does that bash return thing, so it like updates it. But we want to just save it in a file too, so we'll just call it like log, and it'll still generate all this.
On most machines,
So-
you have a word list, and I think user share dicks.
That's,
Ooh.
it's a crappy word list, but it's still a starting point.
Run it on Word Attack.
So you can see all the different web directories that exist. So one thing, phpMyAdmin is if you have like PHP server with MySQL is like a actually I'm just going to try admin and password.
Cannot load encrypt extensions. What could be wrong?
It's not encrypted. So I'm sure there's a vulnerability because there's a bunch of like weird things set up with that. But you can see, it lists out files for different directories. Turning along.
Run it as T-Square.
No,
It's my computer. You can just
I'm not going to do that.
You want to try my site?
Yeah, we can. Actually, I don't think this is connected to the public internet. We could do it on Michael's actual desktop.
yeah.
I don't know if is Derby. You said this is Arch.
Oh yeah.
Shit, the version of
That may not install.
Yeah, I know, but it probably exists.
I can't believe they actually added it.
Oh, I guess it doesn't.
Yep. Weird.
Oh well. Yeah, so there's a GUI tool that does the exact same thing, but I can't remember the name. It's dir something.
And maybe Durbuster.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm curious what this Tiki Wiki.
She's actually sending HTTP requests that clients.
Yep.
Yeah, and that'd be parallel. But that's the place
Well, it's all doing it on a local machine. What if you just shut all that?
Okay. Okay.
When you're checking your HTTP
Oh yeah, let's do that because we already have root access to it, right? What was the other exploit called? Search ES FTP.
I mean, what's the point of paying for all this fancy download if not to let people hack you?
But I just know there's a particular number of attacks in the 50 different.
I've seen on my website. When I look at the logs, I'll see I've seen scanning and stuff done on it before like this. And what this is probably doing, I bet it's not even parsing all of the traffic. I bet it's just looking at the response code and then just dumping the rest of it. So let's just try running that again, and then we can. I don't think I'm a root user, right? Or we'll see. But oh, I am root. Okay. This is early. I think this is before you came.
I can install a
We're-
bootloader on it now.
Yeah, but we wanted to check the logs, right?
Oh shit, that's right.
var log Apache. Because this is a reverse TCP session, there's no prompt that's being printed, I think.
It's usually in var log HTTP.
Oh, it said Apache, I think, right? Apache 2.
Directory, so we're gonna have to figure out what's in there.
Yeah.
By the time we're actually done finding the log, it's gonna be done.
No, I don't think so. Because this is like super, see, this works perfectly.
No, it doesn't.
And it's probably going to save that on top of
No, so this is what we should do. Vim at, or no. Var.
Ed, this is like the
I guess
one point.
STDY
This is the one time where Ed would be correct.
Directory is like, or whatever.
Yeah, it's got something called X, like extended Ed.
Access.log. Yeah, so we can see all these things happening. We can even,
Yeah, Ed let everyone actually kill himself.
oh, I didn't mean to kill the entire session. Yeah, so that's kind of a interesting tool.
Edwin isn't even related to Ed.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You guys are on the ed tangent. We can use ed.
I don't even know if they can use Ed.
I don't want to use that. Can you remove anything with Ed from my laptop?
I don't think you're gonna
Ed
add
slash
it.
eds.
What is the standard Ed?
Well, no, it doesn't have ed, but because it has Vim installed, it has the feature-filled version of ed, the extended version.
But I don't want to.
X.
I don't want to exit my file. I want to edit my file.
Oh, but it's in visual mode. I don't want X in visual mode, or like, it shouldn't show the entire. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
No. So the extended mode for Vim actually does do that. It doesn't have like a straight end.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I'll show you one other cool thing to end the presentation. So, if ever you have access to someone else's Linux laptop, and you have a chance to run a fun command,
Do the echo thing.
yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So what you do, so one thing first, whenever you find yourself in this situation, always enter a space first. That way, whatever command you enter doesn't go in their bash history.
I have history right there.
What?
See that grayed out?
No. If I type in a space before the command, that command doesn't go in your bash
I believe
history.
you can actually override that.
I'm sure you can, yeah, but that is the default setting.
That's pretty funny.
So, first off, so do that, add some spaces. Then what we want to do is, okay, so the trolley thing that Addison did on me a while ago is you basically, or maybe it was you and
I showed
Addison.
this to Addison actually.
You add a line you pinned a line to the person's bash RC that sleeps like a fraction of a second and then appends the same line to the end of the bash RC. So like basically the first time you open a shell, it adds a very small amount of lag, but then successively as you continue opening new shells, it'll add a slight amount of lag, or like more lag. So what we want to do is echo the following thing to, and you're using Z shell, right?
Don't use one arrow. Don't use one arrow. And why are you echoing a blank?
No, I'm gonna fill it in later, but
RC.
So, and if we let's do this right. Let's make this shell agnostic. So we don't want it to just work for Z shell. We want it to work for any type of shell. So you do echo $0, you'll get the name of the shell. So what we can do is we can do the space, and we want to put it, we want to append whatever we're writing to the end of his
So it'd be tilde.
dot 0 RC.
You have to have tilde. No, you actually you cannot have the tilde in the string or it won't be expanded. You have to have the tilde outside of the string. Yeah, tilde won't get expanded. In
I'm
string.
skeptical. We're gonna see if you're right or not. Well, it doesn't matter if it.
Tilde won't get expanded if it's inside of a string.
Okay.
I've been bitten by this before.
Okay. So, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't get expanded because well, whatever. Okay, so.
Tilde is not a valid file.
Well, we want to actually that whole point. That doesn't matter. Or this whole thing that was pointless. I shouldn't have done that. But whatever. So. Well, because I'm still gonna have to do it anyway. So.
Yeah, because you're gonna have to put the regular.
Well, so what I was gonna say is what we want to do is okay. First, we want to sleep a little bit. So we want to sleep for 0.01, if that you can even do that, and then after that, we want to append this same line
You
to.
don't even need the sleep 0, 1, so you just do echo, and then inside of the string literal, it's echo sleep 0.01 to the RC. So echo sleep 0.01 arrow the RC.
The easy way to do it is use double quotes on the outside, use single quotes within that string.
But it doesn't matter.
I'm gonna
this
fix
is
this.
all you do, and it's easy to throw on somebody's thing, and it's hilarious.
Well, we're gonna make sure this is right first. So is this correct?
Yes. No, that's correct. Yeah, make it sleep 0.1, because you're not going to notice that at all. There you go.
Try to do it.
You open it. Yeah, I guess you can do that.
Okay.
So
now if I open a new shell, so it already was slow, right?
There have been at least 3 different people who have presented in Lug who have had this happen.
Ooh, guys, I just figured out a way how to make this so much better. So right now, if we looked at no, so if we look at the
And the reason this is funny is because they won't notice it and they won't want to fix it because they'll assume there's just like something wrong. They don't want to fix it.
I mean not Z shell RC. If we look at the Z shell history, oh, I'm in the wrong directory. That's why. We'll see.
It won't put
Oh, Z shell different than
Yeah, dude, Z
than
shell doesn't
Bash.
do it. All of the bad things in Bash got
Do you maybe have that? Do you actually have that setting disabled?
I have extended history enabled on Z shell, and he's using my config. Like those timestamps are Z shell specific, and probably the space thing.
It's annoying. What I was gonna say is what we should have done is. So I guess yeah, Josh is that paranoid, but it doesn't. Well.
No, I didn't turn on the space thing. I just turned on ZSH like extended history stuff.
Oh.
Who left their USB stick here?
Let me
Everybody rated all of them together.
Wait. Oh, because you have NVIM or something.
I
What
gotta
are
make,
y'all about, Ray?
I gotta make the flyers, Colin.
You what?
I gotta make the flyers for so,
We can work on that together if you want.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, there's one thing I wanted to show you, which the thing I realized is in theory, this Echo Sleep 1 would be still on your what is it? Would be in your history. That command Sleep 1.
Because
So.
anything from your RC will not get recorded to history.
Oh, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay,
because
never mind.
will just-
I was gonna say we need to like put this in quotes and add a space before it, so that it it
No, this is
and then doesn't add that
undetectable
to the history.
unless somebody opens their RC up or just notices that their shell is suddenly a slow piece of shit.
Yeah.
Add it
Now,
to your boot.
what you actually want to do
Add a
is
system to use
create
it.
Yeah, no, that's what I wanted to do. So this line is wrong. The I want to append this line itself. I'll work on that later. Maybe I don't want to spend too long. Actually,
Well, you can. So you
We'll
can,
figure it out.
You can replace that ZSHRC with the
Just slow
$0,
down your boot.
and the $0 will not be expanded since it's in single quotes. So you'll end up with the $0 inside of the RC file.
It is, unless it is market dependent of everything.
So the problem with system paralyzing your services is that it's not deterministic, and there's a known bug where system B will just randomly, once in a blue moon, freeze, and will never finish.
I think it's great that it's not unrealistic. Every time.
that's not going to work.
But also, it's like.
Oh well, yeah, that's all I have for you guys. So,
It's like
sorry, it's a little rough.
Most of them will do it now. The problem specifically is that system B will non-deterministically satisfy the dependencies, and that's where it gets really awful. Sometimes it will just fail to satisfy the dependencies, and everything will blow up.
Your laptop is
is
working hard.
Well, it's encoding all this video.
It thinks it's encoded video, but it's just an image.